Earman! Welcome to Magoo Sports News. It's Friday's edition and we're going to have a look at what's coming up this weekend. Also going to have a wee look at what sport there was, bit of football, bit of tennis and a bit of cricket. So hold tight folks, Magoo Sports News is here. So folks, as you've probably noticed, I haven't got the cap on or my glasses. To be honest, it's Friday and I just couldn't be arsed. So anyway, what did we have this week? In the football, Champions League qualifiers, of course, folks. Everybody wants to get to the group stage. It's where the money's at. It's where the action's at. And basically, Arsenal got off to a decent start in their game. They played Udinese and they won 1-0. However, 1-0's not a massive lead to be taken to Italy. Might be struggling to hold on to that lead. You never know. Hopefully they'll do okay and get through to the group stage. In the Premiership as well, of course, Monday night we had Manchester City opening their league account to Swansea and they won 4-0, absolutely hammered them. But to be fair to Swansea, they did hold out for the first half and it wasn't until the second half that the floodgates really opened. Sergio Aguero got a couple of goals as well. So in the UEFA Cup qualifiers as well, that was on last night being Thursday. And it was a good result for English teams, but bad for Scottish. Basically, Tottenham beat Hearts 5-0, and this game was on ITV4. I watched it, and oh my god, how bad were Hearts. The gap between the Premiership and the Scottish Premier is so big. I mean, they just couldn't keep up. So they won 5-0. Fulham beat Dnipro 3-0 away from home, so they take a 3-0 lead back to Craven Cottage. You'd think they'd go through. Stoke away to the Swiss team FC Thun, they won 1-0, so again taking a 1-0 advantage to home, should be okay. Celtic drew at home to FC Sion. I mean, they're not that big a team, they're from Switzerland as well, but still not a brilliant result. Birmingham drew 0-0 away to Nacional of Portugal. Not a bad result. And Maribor beat Rangers 2-1 at home. Rangers have got the away goal, so they only need to win 1 or 2-0, so they should be okay. Another bit of news is Tony Fernandez, who owns the Lotus team in Formula 1, obviously got a bit of coin. He has completed the takeover for QPR, so hopefully Neil Warnock will get a bit of money to spend, bring in a few new players, and they should be okay. So, into the tennis, and Andy Murray was back in action this week in the Cincinnati Masters. You remember, of course, last week in the Toronto Masters, he got beaten in the first round. But anyway, he went a bit further, he's gone a bit further, beat David Nalbandian on Wednesday, and he beat Alex Bogomolov on Thursday. Struggled a bit against Nalbandian, but I mean, he's still a bit rusty, but then he seemed to be a bit better in the first set against Bogomolov. But anyway, he plays Gilles Simon today, and then he plays Rafa Nadal if he wins that game tomorrow, Saturday, which obviously he won't win. In the cricket, and the first day was pretty much washed out. Basically, England finished on 75 for none. Only 29 overs available, so hopefully we can get a bit more play today and over the weekend. And that's pretty much what was going on. So folks, what have we got coming up this weekend? Absolute action-packed weekend of sport coming up. Firstly, I'll talk about the football, and it starts off with an absolute mouth-watering game. Arsenal play Liverpool at the Emirates Stadium, live on Sky Sports. That's at 12:30. Can Liverpool bounce back from losing the 1-0 lead at home to Anfield against Sunderland? Can Arsenal get a home win under their belts? A lot of injury worries for Arsenal. Wait and see for that. Chelsea are at home to West Brom. Difficult game for Chelsea. They struggled to score last weekend, and West Brom are a very organised team under Roy Hodgson, so they might struggle in that game. Bolton, Manchester City, the two teams that won 4-0, pit themselves against each other. Bolton, again, a very well organised team, very physical team. Can Man City's away record, which was pretty poor last season, make it better this year? Manchester United as well versus Tottenham. Tottenham coming off the back of that 5-0 win last night in the Europa League. Can they do something against Man U, who have got a truckload of injuries? It's going to be a very interesting game. And in the SPL, the Sheepshagger Derby. Aberdeen are at home to Inverness Caley Thistle. Both teams are only on a point, so a win for either team would be a great result. So moving on into the Super League. Catalan Dragons play Warrington on Saturday. That's a big game. Can the Dragons continue their fine run of form going into the playoffs, or will Warrington cement their top 2 place? Wakefield versus Castleford. Massive game. Castleford have to win to basically stand any chance of getting into the playoffs. They're currently 7th, but they're only 2 points off of 9th place. And they play the 2 teams below them in the last 2 weeks. So that's a huge game. In the cricket, the 4th test continues. Can the weather permit 4 days of decent play? Can England win the final test and take a series whitewash against India? In the tennis, and it's the Cincinnati Masters, Andy Murray is playing today. He plays Gilles Simon, and also he will play Rafa Nadal tomorrow if he wins that one, assuming Rafa Nadal gets through. In the Rugby Union, and there's a few more World Cup friendlies. Scotland play Argentina, Ireland are at home to France, and Wales play Italy. So should be an okay games. In the Tri-Nations, and it's the big one, South Africa at home to the All Blacks. Gonna be a great game. That's on at 4:05 p.m. And then in the golf, there's a couple of tournaments, European Tour and USPGA. Again, watch out for those, maybe Sunday afternoon stroke Sunday evening. And that's pretty much all the sport we've got. So folks, fantasy football table, there she is. And of course, Magoo Sports News kept the lead after the Manchester City game. If it wasn't for Sergio Aguero though, Magoo Sports News would be way out in front. But still, Sergio Aguero, I'm sure everybody's got him in his team. Who else have you picked for this weekend? Don't forget folks, Peter Cech is injured for Chelsea, so dodgy keeper for Chelsea. Also, what other injuries have we got? Arsenal got a few injuries, Man United have got a few injuries. So picking teams is going to be very tricky this weekend because of the fixtures as well. I can't see any clear winners, to be honest. So you have a look, see what you think. Don't forget to save your changes, folks. Good luck. Hope you have a good weekend in the fantasy football. Not. So folks, that's everything for today. Great weekend of sport coming up. Stay in, ignore the weather, and make sure you enjoy all the sport. I'm going to watch all the football, the rugby, the tennis, and the cricket. So speak to you guys on Monday. Have a nice weekend.